Hello everybody, I'm Pavithra. I am an urban designer, an architect and project manager. Today I will be showing you in this tutorial how to do a basic streetscape modeling using a JPEG image or a reference 2D that you have already done for your project. Let's jump into it. This tutorial covers how to create detailed streetscape design using SketchUp. From importing reference images to applying materials and optimizing the model. You'll learn how to model key street elements like sidewalks, curbs, curb cuts, bike lanes, pedestrian crossing, green spaces while maintaining efficiency and accuracy. This is a very raw and beginner-friendly editing. So today you will be using basic tools from SketchUp including line, tape measure, push-pull, move, flip tools along with the 3D warehouse for importing elements like tree grates and benches. The tutorial also emphasizes best practices like using groups and components, optimizing file size, and keeping the model lightweight for smooth performance. Setting up SketchUp for streetscape design. Open SketchUp and select a template with units compatible with your reference image and personal workflow. Ensure to choose unit system matches real-world measurements for accuracy, scaling, and drafting. Using Pinterest, I'm just going to draw an inspiration and then copy an image for today's tutorial. When to skip the import step. If you already have designed your street layout for precise dimensions in AutoCAD or other softwares, you can directly import the model image into SketchUp. If you have created a 3D model within SketchUp itself, you can skip this step. Creating a 3D model from a reference image. Today I will show you how to build a 3D model in SketchUp by drawing from a reference image. The model I will be creating is to real-time scale, ensuring accuracy and proportionality. Before modeling, check the city's guidelines for standard streetscape dimensions and regulations. You have to be very particular about which city you are choosing to do a streetscape design of so that you do not misrepresent anything. For today's reference, I'm referring Toronto Complete Street Guidelines to understand how the city plans its infrastructure and safety accessibility. Use the Toronto cycling lane design standards to integrate bike-friendly street elements effectively. Follow transit principles to accommodate public transportation lanes, stops, and transit-oriented planning. Consider street width, sidewalk space, bike lanes, and vehicle lanes based on city guidelines. Ensure pedestrian accessibility by incorporating clear pathways, crossings, and barrier-free design features. Balance functionality and aesthetics by integrating landscape, lighting, and seating where applicable. Maintain flexibility in your design to accommodate further urban development and transit improvements. Importing and scaling a reference image in SketchUp. Open the SketchUp file that you want to import the JPEG into. Locate your reference image on your PC, click Open to import it. Once imported, place the image near the model's origin, which is 0, 0, 0 at X, Y, and Z axis. Scale the image roughly and click once to place it on the horizontal plane. To scale accurately, use the tape measuring tool. Click once on the starting point of the object and measure the known length. Click once again at the end point of the same object to define its scale, and now enter the correct length using the keyboard, and then press enter. A prompt window will appear asking if you want to rescale. Say yes to confirm. This entire model space will adjust to the correct scale based on the entered dimension. Creating reference guidelines for accurate tracing. Use the tape measure tool to draw reference lines on the imported image. Ensure the guidelines with real-world dimensions rather than relying solely on the image, as pixel distortions can mislead measurements. Maintain consistent spacing between guidelines to ensure accuracy in the curb width, pedestrian path, and street dimensions. Always cross-check dimensions with your city's design references and guidelines for accuracy. JPEG images are pixel-based and may not be perfectly clear, so rely on precise measurements rather than visual estimations. Manually enter your dimensions on the keyboard. Use multiple guidelines to create structured framework for bringing the actual tracing. Keep the guidelines uniform and proportional to maintain design consistency. If necessary, adjust or reposition guidelines to refine adjustments before tracing begins. Regular zoom in and zoom out to verify alignment and avoid minor scaling errors. Once satisfied with the guidelines and the layout that you have come up with, proceed with the drawing and actual street elements using SketchUp line and rectangle tool. Tracing and organizing geometry in SketchUp. Once guidelines are set, use drawing tools like the line, rectangle, circle, and arc to trace the entire reference image accurately. Adjust the style settings and the style menu to ensure visibility of the reference image beneath the surface you create. Delete unwanted lines to maintain clean geometry, preventing unnecessary edges or fragmented surfaces. Start grouping objects logically to improve navigation within your 3D model. Use nested groups, which means groups within groups, to keep different elements manageable and organized. Group similar objects and components, sidewalks, curbs, streets separately for easy modification of editing. Avoid drawing directly on grouped objects. Always enter the group before making edits to prevent affecting the other geometry. This method allows you to edit individual components without disrupting neighboring components and elements. Regularly check for unwanted gaps, overlapping lines that could interfere with the model and precision. Once your trace model is structured and grouped correctly, you are ready to move into detailed 3D modeling. Adding road decals and surface detail. Creating pedestrian crossing decals. Designing a small rectangular component for a zebra crossing decal. Place it within a group and then create an array to replicate the entire crossing pattern. This ensures any modifications to the one decal updates in all copies automatically because it's a component. Adding thickness for visibility. We do not want surfaces to merge one on top of the other, so we need to definitely make sure to give some thickness. Keeping a minimal thickness so that the decals stand out and don't merge with the road surface. This prevents visual blending issues when rendering and ensures decals maintain a 3D presence. Assigning unique material and color is very important. Apply a distinct color from the material palette to the decals. Make sure that you don't apply this color for anything else in your model. This makes it easier to adjust in the rendering software later. Copying and pasting crosswalk decals. Use copy-paste to quickly replicate pedestrian crossings across the intersection. Flip decals using the flip tool to align them properly with the traffic flow on all sides. Applying road materials. Select a realistic road texture from the asphalt and concrete folder in the Materials tab. Ensure the road texture complements the decals and doesn't overpower them visually. Making decals for lanes. Use the tape measure tool to set guidelines for the bicycle lanes, vehicular driving lanes, and parking lanes. This ensures lane markings are placed accurately and proportionately. Flipping and mirroring decals. To replicate the lane markings correctly, copy and move decals across intersections. Use the flip tool to align markings with correct traffic directions on each side. Ensuring decals align with the road surface. Verify that decals are properly placed on the road surface and are not floating around. Floating decals can cause issues with rendering, especially when adding shadows and light. So be very careful when you're placing the decals. Whenever you're trying to choose to place an object, make sure that you're holding on to one of the object edge or corners. This will ensure that you place correctly. Grouping versus components for flexibility. Group roads instead of making them components if planning to showcase different road types in the intersection. If the intersection has identical design on all four sides, using components ensures efficiency. Making clean geometry. Use line tool and tape tool to refine objects' details. Ensure all geometry is independent, well-defined and structured and seamless. This approach ensures realistic and organized streetscape design that is easy to modify and render later. Applying customizable material. Shortcut for applying materials. Use the paint bucket tool or B for boy on the keyboard to apply materials to your model. Accessing materials in SketchUp. Open the default tray by going to the window default tray if it's not visible. Enable the Materials tab within the default tray to browse and select materials. SketchUp's built-in material library is a fast and a lightweight palette, but it doesn't look very realistic. For adding more materials, explore Pinterest and search for seamless textures for SketchUp or Photoshop. You can save this in a folder that you can revisit and use later. Creating a custom material in SketchUp. In the Materials tab, ensure that the selection is set to default. Clear. If it is not set to default, clear it by clicking on the default icon within the Material tab. Click the box with the plus sign to create a new material. A new default material, that is. Select the image texture you downloaded and imported. Setting scale and adjustment. When prompted the set scale of your new material, this can be adjusted later. Modify transparency if needed. Click OK to finalize and add the material to your library. Apply different materials to street elements. Use distinct materials for various street components. Organize materials for easy access. Rename materials appropriately to quickly locate them and modify them later. Keeping materials organized speeds up workflow and rendering adjustments. Optimizing material application. Apply textures with correct scaling to avoid distortion. Adjust position and alignment using texture positioning tool if necessary. Finalizing the material application. Ensure all surfaces have correct material assignments before exporting for render. Avoid overloading the model with too many high-resolution textures to maintain SketchUp performance. Creating the curb and tactile surface for the sidewalk. Drafting the curb outline, use the line tool to draft the curb based on the reference image. Enabling X-ray mode in the style setting for easier tracing. Refine the curb design. Ensure dimensions match your standards and guidelines. Smooth out any sharp edges on the pavement to create a clean transition. Adding thickness to the curb. Extruding the curb to the appropriate height using the push or pull tool. Check that the material is applied correctly and that the edges align with the overall design, creating a sloped curb effect. Select the edge of the line of the curb and use the move tool to bend it down to the surface. This creates a smooth slope transition for accessibility. Designing the tactile plate. Copy-paste the sloped surface of the curb to ensure the tactile plate has the same slope. Now create this as a new group and then give it a different material. Adding thickness to the tactile plate, extrude the plate slightly to give it a very slight thickness to ensure visibility. Smooth the edges to maintain a natural curb transition. Placing the tactile surface back onto the curb. Position the tactile plate correctly on the sloped curb, ensuring a proper fit. Replicating the tactile surface for other sidewalks. Copy and mirror the plate of the sidewalks area, requiring similar tactile treatment. Ensuring proper material application. For better definition, apply a color or material that you can swap out once you go to the rendering software. Duplicating streetscape for intersection symmetry. Model one side of the intersection in full detail if all four sides are identical. Group key elements like curb, tactile plates, sidewalk for easy duplication. Use the flip tool to mirror and align the streetscape on all sides. Then go ahead and copy-paste the grouped components to each intersection. Redo tactile plates if needed. I have missed it, so I'm going to redo it. Ensure correct alignment and avoid floating geometry. Make sure you grab every element by its corner, usually the base corner. Use components so future edits and applies to all copies automatically. Check material consistency and adjust textures if needed. Optimize geometry for efficient rendering and performance. Final check for symmetry and accuracy before moving forward. Unhiding reference geometry. Unhide all geometry that is not required when you are trying to edit something in isolation. So to make them all appear back again, you do unhide all geometry. So for that, you need to go edit, unhide all to reveal the hidden references. Handling hidden geometry in groups and components could be slightly different. If certain elements remain hidden and they may be within a nested group or component, go back and to your View tab and say Show Hidden Geometry to make all the hidden lines visible. Unhide geometry within a group. Enter the group component, locate the hidden elements, and right-click and say Unhide. Verify all reference geometries is visible, check all of them if necessary, and restore properly. Filtering 3D models for efficiency. Once you're in the 3D warehouse, make sure that you open the Filters tab and hit Low Polygon Count and measure the item is not in GB, which is gigabytes, but are in kilobytes. This will make sure that the SketchUp model that you're working on is not going to hit an overload. This keeps your SketchUp model light and efficient for smooth performance. Importing and placing the tree grid. Once downloaded, import the component and place it on the sidewalk. Adjust positioning and scale to fit seamlessly into your design. Utilizing components for efficiency is very important. Any edits you make to the component will update automatically as copies to every other component that you have in the model of the same. Checking model performance. Keeping your model clean and optimized by avoiding high polygon counts imports is very important. Redesigning an intersection block and importing trees, grades, etc. Start redesigning an intersection block. Modify one section of the intersection to explore different street design options. Add greenscape and street seating to enhance streetscape design. Using the 3D warehouse for trees, open 3D warehouse from the window tab and search for tree grades. If you have specifically designed anything, you can use them as well. You can also make a custom tree grade and then reintroduce it as a component. Thank you for watching the video so far. If you learned one or two things from this, I really feel very happy to have helped you. If you would like more content like this, please do like, subscribe, and share this video.